Well, guys, after getting that motor tore down, we elected a new engine. So we got into it, and the cam was bad. It was just tore right up. The folks before, after, you know, a head bolt broke off, another one had the thread stripped out. It wasn't the best. So at this point here, that was our best choice. So we scored this fine unit right here. 170,000 mile, 5.3. No variable valve timing though. Folks want to know, right there would be a nice little knob sticking off the timing cover. The engine does have variable valve timing that we're going to be replacing, so we're going to have to tune that out with HP tuners and get rid of that stuff, as well as the AFM or the DOD that we, you know, obviously tore it down for. So here we are getting back to this thing here. So pretty much we are to the point of pulling down the bell housing bolts, torque and rolls, get the exhaust taken care of. You know, some of the good stuff we've seen from earlier. I mean, I just love the exhaust. You know, they could have simply just unbolted, you know, our whole unit here, but let's just hack that off and clamp these on. So yeah. So that's where we're at now, guys. You'll be seeing us get this thing pulled out, swapping the new one in, and get it running and get it out of here. Gotta undo these O2 sensors. Wow, this thing is all falling apart, guys. They did a nice job on her, that's for sure. We gotta undo these O2 sensors, and we could pull off the upper portion of what they've compromised anyways. So see if their custom exhaust work will come apart. We've got one bolt already out, look at that. Yeah, look at that, folks. You'll pull that right out the top. That's how you pull it out. Oh. Yeah, this is a nice job on this unit. Thinking so, guys. We'll pull this one off the top here. We got the torque converter bolts out. We are on to bell housing bolts, and the motor is going to be coming out. Got the AC compressor left. Torque converter bolts kind of see up in there. Got them all pulled out. Exhaust still in our way, but we're going to wait till we get it down. So, good buddy stopped over to figured he'd lend a hand involuntarily. So, we're hopefully gonna have this thing coming out shortly. Guys, you're not gonna believe it. We are getting ready to lower it down, and had caught something you might find a little entertaining. You know, this is Northern Michigan. This is how you fix rust around here. That is how you fix a rusty hitch. You know, you just fill it with foam. Look at that, look at that. That is not a tennis ball, folks. That is good old expanding foam. We figured you'd appreciate that. Go down. Get this thing down, and at this point here, we got the motor mounts. Top bell housing bolt on an LS, if you guys are familiar, the very top one is kind of a pain in the rear, but it's not bad when the transmission's tipped down. Right now, though, we gotta get it from up top. 2 AC compressor bolts. I think we got another couple moments, and you guys see this thing coming out. Got the radiator hoses left. I got pliers already. Gonna make a mess here. Of course, we you know, don't drain the coolant out, so let's do that now. We do have a drain bucket down there, so hopefully it'll catch some of it. I think we're leaving the radiator in this one. We might pull the water pump off just to make it easier to get this one out, and then we'll fight with the new motor. We're gonna leave that one all together. We thought this was the best choice, was to just go ahead and change it rather than deal with the broken head bolts. So we might pull the fans, I don't know. But the new motor doesn't have oil cooler lines. We're leaving the block off on it. We're just gonna go ahead and pop these lines out of the radiator too. Can't forget the AC compressor. There that goes. Honestly, one of the handiest tools. Love my electric ratchet. I think it's worth its weight in gold, guys. All right, compressor's loose, hoses are off. We got our oil cooler lines. It works on its own. I think we'd be a little more proficient at this. We've tore enough of these apart for, you know, LS swaps and all that fun stuff. Hopefully bring some more of that content to the channel. But this is some of the day-to-day grinds when your, you know, buddy asks if you can do him a favor. This is what you get roped into, and then your other buddy shows up and you rope him into it. All right, so we got one. We'll just zip tie them back to the motor. That'll be the best bet. Just like I said, we're not dealing with them on the next engine. You know, you think oil cooler lines are a benefit, and in some situations they are, but it's one of those things you can go back and forth on. Is it helpful to heat your oil up the same temperature as your engine? You know, I mean, you want, obviously, your oil warm, but I don't know. You tell me in the comments. Would you guys prefer to run them or not? It's definitely easier to get rid of them. They're kind of a pain in the ass to run the lines if you choose to keep them. I know on our swaps and stuff, no, a turbocharged application or something where the oil's getting warm makes sense. You know, if you're doing a lot of heavy hauling, maybe an external one even, but one that goes through the radiator just never really made sense to me. should be clear, guys. I think we're actually out. All this because they decided to put it together not the right way. So what did we learn here? We had, well, you know, malfunction with the installation there, wiped the cam out. So on top of breaking a couple head bolts off, taking the head back off, so obviously they cross-threaded it or over-torqued it, or, you know. All right, so we have our new motor here. We're gonna tear this thing down. Basically, we're doing the minimum, like we said earlier. It's just a beater truck, but we wanna get it back together. We'll pull the water pump off, pull the intake off. Gotta take off the flanges off the exhaust manifolds. Take off our trusty seat belt. Once that's out of the way, I think we're ready to start putting her back in. So we're gonna go ahead and just get started on that. Biggest thing is just, it's probably gonna lose a little coolant. But unfortunately, when you get into motor jobs, you kind of deal with that. So you get used to the mess. That's why you buy lots of floor dry. These things here, it's one of the nice parts about these motors is just how simple it is to get the water pump off. 6 bolts, it's in your hand. So get ready, we're gonna have a little mess here, I'm sure. There it is. Not too bad, but that'll just give us some clearance for later. We're kind of struggling a little bit with the trying to get that out of there. So anything we can get out of our way to help right now is going to be beneficial because we're leaving the manifolds on. We're going to go ahead and just kind of clean everything up as best we can and then get it set in. Yeah, we'll polish it up with a little brake clean, but I think we're pretty decent. I mean, it is a used engine. There's really no reason to get into some of these areas, but we're going to polish up the gasket surface where it's important. I mean, other than that, if you're going to get all in that depth, you might as well tear it down and rebuild the darn thing. So we are going to go ahead and polish the rest of them gasket surfaces up. Other than that, we should be, man, I don't know, weaving. I think next step, put it in, right?
Yeah.
Everything's stripped or ready to go.
I think we're there.
So we're gonna finish polishing this up, and I think we're ready to set it in. Be a lot more fun if we had a 78, 75, Chinese Chucha Boy on there.
Some go fast parts.
Pretty impressive what a camshaft will do, just cam swap one of these things. This one is definitely not a good candidate for it. Have you guys seen the side of this truck? It's got some whiskey dents, needless to say. So we're gonna get this thing up high enough, we're gonna spin it around, hopefully set it right in, and it's the plan. So hopefully chain don't break or anything crazy like that. So All right, guys, we're gonna take it back up in the air and see if we can position the bell housing to the back of the block. Make it a little easier for us. Right now it's kind of tough trying to see from up top, so we're taking her up and get her positioned. So after that, next step will be probably do the bell housing bolts, get that all done, torque converter bolts, starter, kind of button up things underneath, and then get back to the top side. Hopefully it just falls right in place, hopefully, but we'll see. Now we're to the top. You know, when the hood is touching the drywall, you know you got it up there. Probably gonna put it down, but
I'm gonna put the stand,
yeah, I see what I mean, guys. It's off, but a little twist. I think we're right there. We got the starter jammed up, just like Jeremy said, but one dowel pin did land. It looks like in the right spot. So, believe it or not, he called it. Our starter's got us bound right up. So, yeah, we're gonna be messing with that one for a few minutes. We got her all lined up, got all our bell housing bolts in, everything from underneath anyways, and we're gonna go ahead and kind of drain the oil out and see what we got. Now this yard's pretty good about doing that before you get the engine, but there is some that leave the oil in. So let's see what comes out of here. Hopefully it's good stuff. In theory, it should be empty, but let's see how they did. Well, it's oil. Doesn't seem to have any coolant or anything like that. At least it's not water like the last engine job we did for him. Definitely a very grimy engine. Get that put on, and then we can do the exhaust, the torque converter bolts, and then we'll bring you guys back in when we're doing the intake, and hopefully be starting her here in a few. All right, getting up top here, guys. We're gonna get the intake on. Fans, we got to put them back in. We did pull them earlier. Just simplify the process. Water pump, kind of reassemble the front of it. So we're gonna hopefully, we're getting the compressor wrapped up right now. A couple bell housing bolts that are easier to get to from up top since we didn't pull the transmission. So that's where we're at. Hopefully in the next short few minutes she'll be running. That's what we're hoping. So we did get the intake cleaned up a little better than the last time you guys seen it. And we'll get that put on too, so. Finally getting this intake manifold on. We got everything plugged in out back. Oil sender. We got our, make sure all our grounds and everything are hooked up. We get to squeak this guy back in there. Kind of a bugger to get positioned in there. There we go. You can always tell it kind of locks in. And just make sure none of your wiring is kind of pinched in the way or anything goofy. We got our vacuum line for our brakes. We got our purge valve. always want to make sure you go back through and hand check them. Yeah, they don't take much, being a 6mm bolt and all. Alright guys, we're getting the belt on, we got the intake on, alternators on, belt and air cleaner, and this thing is ready to fire. So, gonna get this all wrapped up. We got a battery we gotta toss in, but other than that, hopefully, fingers crossed, this thing runs better than the last one, because the last one just didn't run, so. Alright guys, we are at the moment of truth. Gonna be starting this gem here in just a second, so let's hope for the best. See what we got going on here. Everything's plugged in, oil's full, should be ready to go. Alright, gonna run around here and see if she touches off. Hopefully we got her dialed in. Actually sounds really good. That thing took right off actually, so it don't sound too shabby. Not bad. Well guys, I appreciate you tagging along. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. We appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one.